Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to be talking about some of the Colourpop new releases and sharing our thoughts on all the products with you. First up is the No Filter Concealer. These are $6 on the Colourpop website. We got the shades Light 20 and Light Neutral 15. And the fill weight of these is 0.14 ounces, so it is a lot less than an average concealer. So it is only $6, but you would have to buy more to get the same amount of product, if that makes sense. So we'll go through our pros and cons since we do feel a little differently about this concealer. My first con is that it oxidizes like 2 shades deeper. So when you first go to put it on, you're like, oh, this looks good. And then just don't buy a concealer. You shouldn't be buying a concealer that's like too dark anyway, but it will get darker. So if you really want to use it to highlight your face, like the center of your face, make sure to buy a very light shade because it does oxidize. But if you don't really care about that, like sometimes I do that, but sometimes I'm just like, no, I want to conceal my dark circles, then you might not care as much because it does turn deeper, but it's still covering your circles. So just putting that out there. And then when we're talking about the applicator, it kind of looks like a flat doe foot, like a mix between a spatula and a doe foot, I would say. If you've tried the Bare Minerals Serum Concealer, it's like the exact same applicator. Yeah. And so I don't love this. It is good for like the sides of your nose, the top of your nose, wherever if you spot conceal, it's perfect for that. But as far as like putting it under your eyes, I feel like you can't get very close, which I mean, you shouldn't be putting it all the way up to your lash line, but like I can't get super close. So it's not my favorite applicator, but it's not the worst. Like with the Tarte Shape Tape, that one's so big that I feel like it's pointed though. It's like, I mean, you guys have probably seen it. So I can get it like right in the inner corner where I want it and then blend it out and like downwards because you don't need a lot of that product. And with this one, like I can't put it just in the corner because I don't know. I don't even know if it's like the shape of it or what, but that's just one con of mine. And then the pros of it, I really like the formula for... Like the formula looks really nice on the skin and blends out really, really nice. So I do like wearing this on like a no makeup day when I'm not wearing foundation because you just put a little bit on and it blends out flawlessly and it really melts into the skin. So I feel like it does look natural. Like if you're just spot concealing and not wearing foundation, it would look perfect. It would work perfectly for that. And so I do think it's good when you're not wearing a foundation. My issue is when I put it on top of foundation, for some reason, it makes my under eyes look a little bit cakey. And I don't know why. I've been trying to make it work. And the Tarte Shape Tape is, I mean, we have super dry under eyes. So either way, I feel like it tends to crease, concealer tends to crease in our under eyes. But I just feel like the Tarte Shape Tape looks a lot more hydrating under my eyes than this. So I don't know if it's just like the consistency or what. I do like it, but I tend to reach for this when I'm not wearing foundation, and then when I'm wearing foundation, I'll use my Tarte Shape Tape. So I do like this concealer, but I don't love it. And I actually love this concealer. I feel like very differently from Brita. The applicator, I think, is the easiest applicator I've ever used to get to where I want to put it. Like, I get really dark in this inner part of my eye, and I can just take this paddle and put it right there and then blend it out. Dot it. Like, I don't know, it works really well for me. I can put it anywhere. It doesn't apply too much product. I hate the Tarte Shape Tape applicator. I think that because it's a huge doe foot and it has that little well, if you guys own that concealer, it like holds so much product, it's almost impossible to get it to less product to where, I don't know, it's just, I think that's easier because then you just put it like right here and right here. Yeah, and we just differ because even when I put a little bit of the Tarte Shape Tape using the applicator, it is like a big blob. Like I have to take a palette, put the Shape Tape on the palette and apply with a brush and then blend out with a beauty blender. So for me, it's a very high maintenance concealer. I still love it because I love how it looks, but I don't like the applicator at all. This one I prefer because it has the perfect amount of product in my opinion. It's very tiny. It's extremely flexible. You probably can't tell, but it is like super flexible. It's the perfect amount of flocking, which no one really talks about, but flocking is like the fluffy part of the applicator, and sometimes applicators are too flocked, so just like saturated with product. Sure. And sometimes they're not flocked enough, and then it's like hard on your under eyes. So this one I think has the perfect amount, and I really love how this looks on my face. Like Britta said, I've worn it when I haven't worn foundation and I absolutely love it. And I even love it over foundation.
But you think it looks better without foundation?
I do think it looks a little better without foundation because it's so thin, it almost blends out like foundation.
Yeah. I think this is foundation.
Yeah.
Too.
I try not to bring my foundation up to under my eyes. I watched Melissa Alatorre once and she was like, you're gonna put product under there anyways, why would you put foundation there? And I'm like, that's brilliant. So I don't really put foundation there because I know I'm gonna apply concealer, but I really like it. My under eyes always look dry. There's no way around it. Tarte Shape Tape makes my under eyes look dry. Everything makes them look dry. And this doesn't make it look drier than others, but I will say there is some creasing happening. And
yeah, I think it bothers me because they marketed it as crease proof.
Yeah,
and they're like, it doesn't crease.
Everyone says their concealer is crease proof, and everything creases on me. So that's not a con for me because I expect that to happen. And I like that it's a matte finish, but somehow it still looks like a tad illuminating.
It looks very natural.
Like it just looks very smooth and natural. I really like this concealer. I'm wearing it today. I've worn it like every day since I've gotten it. And yeah, I'm a big fan. I think for $6, you can't really go wrong. I like it more than Britta does, so it's kind of nice we have different opinions because then you guys can kind of hear both sides and decide if you want to purchase it, but I'd recommend it, I think. So now we're going to move into their pressed powder face. I hate that this component doesn't say if it's a bronzer or highlighter on the back.
Oh, that's so weird.
It just says highlighter or bronzer, so you don't know which one it is. So you have to physically open it to see which product it is, which is just a bummer. I hope that...
That's a little lazy.
I know, I hope in the future it'll say bronzer or highlighter and then it'll say the shade.
It doesn't say the shade?
No, it doesn't say the shade. So we actually only purchased one bronzer and I only purchased one highlighter. So I know what shade this is, but if I get more, like how are you gonna know? So that's very annoying. But the packaging is really pretty.
It's really nice for like $6.
It's so nice. It's beautiful packaging. It was $7 because
$7.
Right, because the pan is $6 by itself,
that
and
might
if you
be right.
get the compact, it's $7. So
I still have this thing on mine.
I took mine out. So it's a total steal, especially since it has a mirror. And I work in the beauty industry, and mirrors are very expensive to put into compacts. So it's nice that Colourpop included that.
Yeah.
We both have the shade Afternoon Delight. I looked on the back. It's not there. Afternoon Delight, because in swatches it looked the most neutral, but then we got this and we're like, oh wow, this looks warm
and dark.
But
it looks so nice on the skin. This is my favorite out of their new releases.
Yeah,
I love this
really
bronzer.
nice. I'm wearing it today.
I'm wearing it today too.
Yeah, it blends out so beautifully and it doesn't look as warm on your face as it does in the pan.
Yeah, I'll swatch it on my hand. Maybe you can see. Hopefully you can see this. So it does look pretty. It's like, it looks like a sheer wash of color almost when it's swatched. And in the pan you're like, oh, that looks dark. And I feel like usually with Colourpop, like their eyeshadows are their pressed eyeshadows are so pigmented that I thought their bronzers were gonna be very pigmented, but it's so nice and natural looking on the skin.
Yeah, which is what we like. We hate it when bronzers are too pigmented.
Yeah.
Besides my beloved Hourglass, it's my favorite bronzer, but you have to use a light hand because that is pigmented. But yeah, it's so nice because it's kind of mistake proof. Like,
yeah,
you can't really go wrong.
I love this.
I think this color will look good on a lot of skin tones. So if you're kind of looking to see which one you want to buy, I think this would be really good. I think it could suit people even fairer than us if you use a light hand or like a stippling brush like we do, because then you really can't go overboard. Or people like medium skin tone, darker than us, could totally use this too. It's awesome. It's really good. And like I said, I only purchased one highlighter. I got Here Kitty Kitty, and I'm so happy I got this one. Obviously, like, no one's really talked about these on the internet, so we had to base all of our purchases off of the swatches that Colourpop did on their Instagram stories. So I had no idea what this was gonna look like, and I'm so happy I got this one because looking at all the other ones, I honestly wouldn't pick up any of the other ones. They're just not my style. But this is what Here Kitty Kitty looks like. I don't know if you can see it, but it is absolutely stunning. They describe it as a warm ivory, and I definitely agree. I like highlighters to match my skin tone. That sounds kind of weird, but I don't like it when they're different colors. I don't like it when they're too dark or too light. So this one, I feel like it like matches my skin tone. It looks flawless with my skin, and it is so pretty, but it is metallic. It's so metallic. I had a small of the Becca Opal highlighter, like a small sample size, and that was too much for me. Like, I know
that's what I'm wearing today, and it is a lot. You put it on, I'm like, oh.
Like, people love the Becca highlighters, but I'm like, oh, I'm into more of a natural highlight, and these are comparable to the Becca highlighters, or at least this shade. I can't speak to any of the other ones, but like, I have it on my face today, and it is so reflective. And I've read that some people said that some of the other shades were kind of chunky and glittery. I don't think this one is glittery. I think that it's very smooth looking, but it is like metallic. It's so metallic. But I just use a more fluffy brush. I usually use my Anastasia highlighter brush to apply highlighter. I can't use that with this because it's too dense. It'll apply too much. So I use a more fluffy, small tapered brush, and I feel like it kind of controls the metallicness and kind of tunes it down. But I really love this. I highly recommend it for $6. Like I said, just this shade, because I don't know how the other ones are, and I could see how they could be inconsistent. And so I really recommend this one, especially if you love a blinding highlight. Normally I don't. Normally I'm totally into natural highlights, but this one's really pretty. I think it's the shade that kind of draws me in. So if you like neutral, lighter shades, this is a good one. Next up is an ultra matte lip in the shade Sun Showers. They say they reformulated their ultra matte lips. I don't know if that's like moving forward, they'll all be this new formula. I assume so. We hate the ultra matte lips, as most people do. We had like so many because the shades are so beautiful, and we threw them all away because they were just so uncomfortable. They got dry and crumbly and not good, hated them. So when I got this, you know, my hopes were set like pretty low that they actually changed it, but I do think it is a little bit more comfortable. Here's the shade. It's like a deep plum. I love the shade. The shade is so beautiful, it's so perfect for fall. I will say when I was putting it on my lips, so maybe it's like a bit watery when you put it on, so it looks a little hydrated, and you can maybe even see it's already drying down. So it does dry down a little bit fast. And I would say use a thin layer if possible, because when I first put it on, I put it on as I would like an ultra satin lip, and I didn't really think to do like just one quick swipe and then like rub my lips together, and it got like a little bit patchy and weird. But then the second time I put it on, I tried to use like a thinner coat, and I liked it a lot more. So I will say, like, go in with a light hand, you know, work with it a little bit, but I do think it is a little bit better and a little bit less drying than their former formula, and this shade is so pretty. And then the brushes, I only purchased one because it was like a last minute decision. I was checking out, I'm like, oh, I'll get a brush, and I totally regret it. I got the pencil brush. Number one issue, this brush has no number. It doesn't say pencil brush, it just says Colourpop. Really nice handle, nice ferrule, but like, it's disappointing that they don't at least write what it is on the brush. Like, I would pay $2 more to just know what brush it is, know what bronzer I'm dealing with. And to be honest, this was $6, which to me is kind of a lot for a pencil brush, and I'm so disappointed. The bristles are really soft, so that's a plus, but it is so dense, and look how fat it is. Like, for a pencil brush, like, if it's gonna be this fat, I just want it to be less dense, more of a fluffy, thicker brush. So then you can just like put color under your lash line, and it's very soft and not like aggressive. This is so hard. I like tried to use it once, and it just was like hurt my eye, and I'm like, why is it so tapered but then so fat? Because you're really only touching this part to your under eye. Like, it's so dense that it won't fall. This probably doesn't make sense unless you feel it, but the tapered part can't really like fall into this bigger part, so really only the tip top is getting under there, so it's like, why even make it this fat? It doesn't really make sense. I'm really disappointed in this brush. We love Colourpop, and obviously we loved all these products we bought, so it's like, You know, it's fine that I didn't really like it, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'm sure the other brushes are better. I think I just picked, we don't know. Maybe some are better, some aren't, but this one is a no-go for me. Thank you guys so much for watching this Colourpop review. Sorry if it was long, we just had a lot to say. As always, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up.